For centuries, whispers of a forbidden tale have echoed through the corridors of the Vatican, a story so controversial that it threatens the very fabric of church history. The legend of Pope Joan tells of a woman who disguised herself as a man and rose through the ranks of the clergy, ultimately sitting upon the papal throne. But was she real? Or is her story a medieval fabrication designed to discredit the Church? The earliest known accounts of Pope Joan emerged in the 13th century, though some claim her story dates back even further. Chroniclers such as Jean de Mailly and Martin of Opava recorded tales of a female pontiff who reigned under the name John Anglicus. According to the legend, she was an exceptionally intelligent woman, educated in the classical arts and theology, who disguised herself as a man to gain access to the Church's inner sanctum. Some scholars argue that the legend could have originated from earlier rumors about strong, intelligent women who sought knowledge in secret. The story also reflects the anxieties of medieval society about women's roles in religious and intellectual circles. Whether Pope Joan was real or not, her legend spread rapidly across Europe, capturing the imagination of many and evolving with each retelling. Born in either England or Germany, depending on the version of the story, Joan supposedly excelled in her studies and impressed those around her with her intellect. She travelled to Rome, where she entered the clergy, carefully maintaining her secret identity. Rising through the ranks, she eventually gained enough influence and recognition to be elected Pope, reportedly serving under the name Pope John VIII. During her rise, Joan was said to have had access to sacred texts and theological discussions that were otherwise restricted to men. Her ability to debate scripture and interpret religious doctrine earned her respect among her peers. Some accounts suggest that Joan had a close relationship with a fellow scholar, which may have contributed to her eventual downfall. Historical accounts claim that Joan's reign was marked by wisdom and effective leadership. She was revered for her teachings and decisions, solidifying her position among the papal elite. Some sources claim that she introduced reforms that were progressive for the time, focusing on the education of clergy members and emphasizing intellectual rigor in religious training. However, beneath the facade, a secret loomed that would eventually lead to her dramatic downfall. Some legends suggest that Joan's close relationship with an advisor or trusted confidant led to an intimate affair, resulting in her pregnancy. She may have believed she could continue to conceal the truth, but fate had other plans. The most infamous part of the Pope Joan legend is her exposure. According to the story, she became pregnant, likely from a trusted confidant, and managed to keep it hidden until the moment it could no longer be concealed. While leading a public procession, Joan allegedly went into labor and gave birth in the streets of Rome, horrifying onlookers. Some versions claim she died on the spot, while others suggest she was either executed or exiled. Another version of the tale suggests that after her identity was revealed, she was imprisoned by the Church and spent the rest of her days in isolation. Some sources claim that her child was taken away and raised within the Church, its origins covered up to avoid scandal. Over time, the location where she supposedly gave birth became infamous, and some medieval maps even marked it as the place of the female pope. Most historians dismiss the tale of Pope Joan as myth, citing the lack of contemporary evidence in official papal records. Some believe the story was medieval satire, meant to criticize the Church's corruption and exclusion of women. Others speculate that Joan's story might have been based on a real event that was later exaggerated and mythologized. Some scholars have pointed out inconsistencies in the timeline of Joan's supposed reign. The Catholic Church's official records do not acknowledge her existence, and there are no primary sources from the time period that confirm the event. However, some argue that this could be due to deliberate historical revisionism or an attempt to erase an embarrassing chapter from church history. The Catholic Church has officially rejected the idea that a female pope ever existed. However, some conspiracy theorists suggest that the Vatican actively suppressed evidence of Joan's existence to preserve the sanctity of the papal lineage. The legend persisted well into the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods, inspiring countless books, plays, and even modern films. Despite the Church's denials, the story of Pope Joan has never fully faded from public consciousness. Some religious scholars have speculated that the legend may have been inspired by real women who played influential roles in the Church but were never formally recognized. Whether real or fictional, Pope Joan's story has become a symbol of female empowerment, challenging the rigid structures of patriarchy. For some, she represents a cautionary tale. For others, she is a lost icon of a past that could have been. In literature and film, Joan has been depicted as both a tragic figure and a heroine who defied societal norms. The legend has also been used in discussions about the role of women in the Church and whether female leadership should be more widely accepted. Regardless of the truth behind the story, Pope Joan continues to captivate audiences and remains an enduring figure in the discourse on gender and religion. The truth behind Pope Joan may never be fully known. Was she an ambitious woman who dared to defy the norms of her time, or simply a fictional character woven into history to serve as a warning? Regardless of the answer, the legend of Pope Joan continues to captivate and provoke debate, ensuring that her name will never be forgotten. Ultimately, Pope Joan remains one of history's most enduring mysteries. Whether she truly existed or not, her story serves as a reminder of the limitations placed on women throughout history and the power of legends to inspire change. If you have enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you get notified when next we post. Thank you.